minutes. We have people who are coming from 8:30 committees on the first floor, so sometimes we're a little bit delayed, but we've got a great committee, and I thought maybe the first thing we would do is, since we've got 2 new committee members, is do introductions. So do you mind, Senator Warren, if we started with you on that end of the table? We'll just go around.
Oh, sure. Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Honored to be the first committee member you've called on this session, so appreciate that. I'm Kelly Warren. I represent Senate District 11 and the fine people in it, and this is my second term, and glad to be here. The district is in southern Johnson County.
Thank you, Senator Warren. Senator Rose?
Thank you, Madam Chair. TJ Rose, I represent the very talented people of District 35 in southern Johnson County, just to the west of Senator Warren.
Senator Haley?
Madam Chair, good morning, members of the committee and guests. My name is David Haley. I'm out of Wyandotte County. It's the 4th district. My district is wholly contained in Wyandotte County, and this is starting my 32nd year in the Kansas Legislature, 26 of them here in the Senate.
So you are a repository of knowledge.
Some might say time goes on. I don't remember everything I once knew, Madam Chair, but thank you for the affirmation.
Thank you, Senator Haley. And we have a new ranking member here and a new senator just sworn in yesterday. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Silas Miller. I'm from Wichita, Sedgwick County. Newly elected senator. I was a representative for the last 3 years, and I'm very happy to be here. Bittersweet conditions with Senator Ware retiring, but I hope to fill her large shoes. So thank you.
Thank you for being here. We will be gentle. Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My name is Mike Fagg. I represent District 14, which includes McPherson. I got McPherson, Chase, Marion, Greenwood, northern half of Butler. So I kind of wrap around Wichita. So I'm excited to be here. We got some great members on this committee, and we got a great staff and a lot of good supporting people out there too. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we have a great chair and vice chair. Yeah, Mike Argerbright, District 17, Lyon County, Morris County, and Geary County, and happy to be here and look forward to the debate and discussion.
Thank you. And we have a new member just sworn in yesterday as well. Senator Hill, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Scott Hill from, I live at Abilene, but I represent Dickinson and Saline County in the 24th District. And I feel like that I've been around a long time, thanks to Senator Miller. I got appointed in July, so.
Very good, Senator Gossage.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Beverly Gossage, District 9, which encompasses parts of 4 counties, so parts of Johnson, Wyandotte, Leavenworth, and Douglas. Pleasure to serve on the committee.
Thank you all. I'm Senator Brenda Dietrich. I represent the 20th Senate District, and so I've got probably half of Shawnee County. I'm south and west, and then I have all of Wabunsee County. So this is my second year being chair. Second term in the Senate, and I had 2 terms in the House. So welcome, everybody. I'm excited. We've got other chairs on this committee as well, so I think that's what helps us move things along pretty quickly and procedurally, so thank you all for being here. And we have staff. We have new staff, Aradia or retired after I don't know how many years, 30 maybe? A lot, yeah. So can we do staff introductions? We can start wherever you'd like. Jackie, do you want to begin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Jackie Gutierrez. I'm the committee assistant for FI&I and Senator Dietrich's office assistant. And this is my 4th session, I think.
Welcome, Jackie. We're glad you're here.
Good morning. My name is Leanne Thone. I'm a senior research analyst for KLRD. I'm going to try to fill Loretta's very large shoes as well.
Welcome, Leanne. Thank you. Go ahead. Who's our tech support person down there? Are you going to be our regular person?
Hello, yes. My name is Devin Barger, and yes, I will be the AV tech or the broadcasting tech for this session.
Thank you. We rely heavily on you. Thank you.
My name is Julia Kofoid with Legislative Research, and I will also try to fill Arida's very large shoes.
Hello, I am Tamara Lawrence with the Office of Revisor of Statutes.
We aren't going to see you every time, are we, Tamara?
No, Eileen is perfectly capable of handling this committee on her own.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Eileen Ma from the Office of Revisor of Statutes, and apparently I'm fully capable of staffing the committee.
And you've been the reviser for this committee for quite some time, haven't you?
Actually, yes, this is my 12th session. Maybe I can retire with a disability sometime. It's my 12th session, and I'm pleased to say that I have staffed FI&I every single session. It's my favorite committee, but don't tell Chairman Sutton that.
Okay, well, we're glad you're here. We really have a great staff and good committee. I think we'll make a lot of good progress this year. I don't think we'll have quite as many bills as we did last session. So in your folders, we're trying to keep everything much as it was last year because most of you are returning members. You'll see our bill folder, you'll have an agenda folder, and we've also got a folder on committee rules that you might want to take a look at. It's the same exact rules that we had last year. Just to review them, if there's anything you have a question about or anything you want to know more about or why are we doing things that way, it's pretty standard for most committees. So you've also got that in your brown folder. What do we call this? Our main folder that you can leave here in the room, and yeah, and Jackie will take care of the contents for you. So does anybody have any questions before we get started with bill introductions? Everybody good? Okay. So at this point in time, like we do just about every committee meeting, I will ask if there are any requests for bill introductions today. Mallory Lutz, you want to introduce yourself? And you didn't raise your hand or anything, so I wasn't sure. Are you ready? Are you not ready?
I thought I was giving deference to the committee to go first. So thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Mallory Lutz with Little Government Relations. And today, on behalf of the Kansas Chapter American Academy of Pediatrics, as well as the Kansas Academy of Family Physicians, I'm requesting introduction of RS 2690. And this is concerning transparency and prior authorization.
Okay. Are there any questions or issues with that? Okay, if not, we'll consider that submitted, and we'll get it to the Secretary of the Senate. I guess I didn't ask specifically if any committee member has a bill introduction at this point in time. Do you? Okay, I don't see any, so we've got plenty of time if you do going forward. Are there any other bill introductions from anyone in our gallery? Okay, very good. All right, well, committee, we have meetings Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, and we will have presentations each day. We also have meetings next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then the following week, January 27th, 28th, and 29th, we'll start hearings. So just so you're aware, and we'll give you information well in advance. So today, we have an overview and update on Kansas credit unions. We have Julie Murray here, Administrator, Kansas Department of Credit Unions, and Emily Beam is also here as well. Come on up, Julie. I feel like we're old friends. You're here every year. You just come on up and tell us what we need to know.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. It's always a struggle for me in the microphone. That's the first thing I have to do every year. So for those of you I haven't met, my name is Julie Murray. I am the administrator for the Kansas Department of Credit Unions. I was confirmed into that position in April of 2022. Before that, I came to the agency in 2019 as an examiner. Prior to that, I spent about 20-odd years in financial institutions, banks, and credit unions. Just a little bit more information for those of you who don't know me. And I do appreciate the opportunity to share the information with you today about our credit unions and the role of our agency. It's a short summary of the state of the credit union regulatory system that I'm providing, and a little bit of information about our credit unions. I imagine Emily will go into more detail about that. Our credit union system in Kansas began in 1929 with the chartering of Topeka Post Office Credit Union. It still serves its members today much in the same way that it did 95 years ago. We currently have 44 state chartered credit unions. Their assets are in excess of $6.5 billion. There's 17 federal credit unions. Their assets are over $2 billion. We also have one state-chartered corporate credit union. They serve credit unions in Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Colorado, and Montana. They offer investment, liquidity, cash management products and services, and their assets today are over $2 billion. Our agency began in 1968 when the Kansas Legislature approved the plan to move the regulation of credit unions from the Office of the State Bank Commissioner, formalizing our agency's mission to provide for management, control, regulation, and general supervision of our Kansas chartered credit union. The legislature does require that all state-chartered credit unions pay an annual examination fee to fund the agency, thereby assuring the agency will be fully funded without any assistance from the general fund. All fees are remitted to the treasurer and held in the credit union fee fund, except for 10%, or it's $100,000 in our case, that we credit to the general fund. Our agency consists of 12 FTEs. We have an administrative officer, an assistant, 8 examiner positions, financial examiner, administrator, and myself. All of our member accounts and deposits are insured by the National Credit Union Share Insurance Fund, which was created in Congress by 1970 to insure member deposits in federally insured credit unions. The insurance limit is $250,000 per individual depositor, is administered by the National Credit Union Administration, and is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. State credit union law requires our agency to examine every state chartered credit union at least once every 18 months. Currently, our average is about 15 months, and we've maintained that average since 2002. We operate and conduct our examinations under the standards equivalent to the National Credit Union Administration. These standards have qualified the agency to be continually accredited by the National Association of State Chartered Credit Union Supervisors since 1995. Our agency conducts a risk-based examination, which evaluates 6 key financial risks, including capital, asset quality, management, earnings, asset and liability management, and sensitivity to interest rate. With each key financial risk, a rating is developed and assigned based on examinations team assessment of the credit union's credit risk, interest rate, liquidity, transaction compliance, and reputation risk, each receiving an average rating of high, low, or moderate. Our examination staff works with our federal examination team to complete joint examinations for agreed-upon procedure every year. This typically happens when the credit union reaches a specific asset size or if it has a heightened risk profile. So just some information about our state chartered credit unions as of September 30th of last year. I apologize for my typo here. We had total members in just the Kansas chartered credit unions of just over 500,000. Credit Union of America in Wichita is our largest credit union with assets in excess of $1.7 billion. Our newest credit union is Catholics United Credit Union in Hutchinson. We were chartered in 2005 with total assets just under $200,000. I will, just as an aside, we do have a credit union working on developing and chartering a new credit union. It's a process that's going to take them quite a while, but it's exciting to me. So our credit union lending, our credit unions focus on consumer lending. It's always been kind of the bread and butter of credit unions. Our larger, medium to larger credit unions have an expanded product. They do secured loans, unsecured loans, mortgage loans, including first, second, and home equity, and they also do some member business and agriculture lending. Our services and products vary based on member needs and credit union size. Some have just basic savings. Most have savings, checking, money market. They offer debit cards, online banking, mobile banking, pretty much everything you would see in a bank. Just a little bit on the financial performance. Our third quarter statistics, I don't quite have the finalized end of year, show that our assets for the Kansas Chartered Credit Unions totaled $6,692,787, a lot, as of September 30th. Loans were just over $5 billion. Shared deposits were just over $5.5 billion. Our average delinquency ratio was just over 1%. Those numbers have been improving since then. We kind of expected a high last year, and most of our credit unions are seeing that come back down a little. The return on assets for Kansas charter credit unions was about 69 basis points as of September 30th, and our net worth ratio continues to improve. Our average was at 14.82%. So that covers my testimony. I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you. I do have a couple questions, but committee, do you have any questions for Julie? Do you? Sure, I've got a couple as well, so go ahead, Vice Chair Fagg.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for your presentation very much. Thank you for what you do for Kansas. I was wondering about Kansas charters versus federal charters. You know, is that at one time, is there more federals? Is there anybody buying anybody out? Or I just wondered what the landscape was for that kind of thing. My first question.
It's a good question. So in credit unions, we do have, again, we have more state chartered credit unions than federally. We work really hard in our agency to make sure that we are an appropriate regulator for our credit unions so that they see us as a benefit. They like having somebody that they can call that's just down the street. Some of our credit unions have merged into federal credit unions. Usually it's a geographical issue where I have one on the horizon that's looking to merge into a federal, but that's just because that's the closest credit union to them that would offer the services that they're interested in. But normally we try to, if you'll remember a couple years ago, we updated our Kansas law to allow our credit unions to operate outside the state of Kansas. So we're doing that to ensure that our state chartered credit unions are on an even playing field with the federal. That's an important goal for us. So we're trying not to see anybody move one way or another actually too much. But when it comes to nationally, we rank right about in the middle with the 44 state chartered. A lot of ours are smaller than some of the bigger states, but we're not losing or gaining in any different level than our counterparts in other states.
As far as the direction, what's your biggest challenge today?
You know, we always talk about cybersecurity. So that's scary. Our credit unions are also being challenged by fraud. They've come together, and I imagine Emily will cover it a little bit, as a whole to start an educational campaign. Our constituents, our members are attacked regularly by fraudsters. Interestingly, in the state of Kansas, we've seen ATM jackpotting, and I actually think that we saw it here before I saw it on the coast. That's a lot of money real fast. Delinquency, I think, is moving back down, but it's higher. If you look at our numbers compared to the nation, I think our credit unions move a little more deliberately, which is good, but sometimes our growth maybe isn't as fast, but then the fall isn't as fast either. So one thing that's really on my mind is I'm a big advocate of our smaller credit unions, but the managers in those are nearing retirement, and they can't afford to pay people to entice them to move to rural areas. And that's going to see a shift in mergers in the future. And it's a sad one for me, but it's a reality.
Excellent question, Senator. In fact, I was wondering about that as well, greatest challenges. So I have a question about your examiners. Do you have staffing issues with that group of individuals who go out and examine the credit unions?
It's a hard job to fill. You're asking people to be on the road at least half of their life. And it's a job, so I came to the agency as an examiner after being in banks and credit unions for over 20 years, and I thought I was ready. I wasn't ready. It's a lot. It's very different. And so it's a hard job. It takes a couple years to just learn the basics. So anytime you get somebody that doesn't fit, it seems catastrophic. And when you have a team that's that small, any shifts affects the morale. So I'm not going to say it's a staffing issue. It's just you've got to find the unicorn. Does that make sense?
The right person. person. So what are the qualifications of an examiner? Are you accountants? Do you have CPAs?
You know, what's interesting is if you look at our team, they're very different. So I have an ex-law enforcement agent, I have an accountant, I have somebody who came to us from the bank commissioner, he was a payday lending examiner. We have economics grad, and I actually think that that works because there's so many different factors. So our thought is really how well can somebody self-learn, how well can they work with the team, and how interested are they in ongoing learning, because that's a big part of what we do. It changes all the time.
So my last question has to do with, again, the examiners and the work that they do. Do you have, because you use the CAMEL, rating scale that our banks use, do you have any credit unions that are at high risk right now?
There are a couple we're working with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not so many, though, that you're concerned.
No.
Just-
If you look, I think I've done the math, and it's a little over 95% of our assets are in ones or twos, which are no concerns.
I've been a credit union member just about all my life, so I really appreciate credit unions and banks as well, from banker over here. But thank you so much. Committee, Senator Rose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Why haven't there been any new charters in the last 20 years? And what changes need to take place at any level of government to resume new charters?
So a credit union is a volunteer cooperative organization. So you have to find a group that's, first of all, interested in doing so. Capital levels are required. Not only do they have to be approved by the state of Kansas, which we're working with ours, they have to have an entire package so they can be insured by the NCUA. Now, Chairman Harper and now Chairman Hopman were interested in making that an easier process, but it's still a process. So with the ones that we're working with now, it's a minority group that is used to very different laws than ours. So we're working through that process to get policies and procedures that are compliant, that they can get a package together, but they also have full-time jobs. So first is the interest. This is the first interest that I've seen. It's just not easy, and there are so many credit unions that they could join, right? But then the other is just paperwork, and people are doing it as they have the time and money.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Along this line, in fact, started, Madam Chair, Senator Fagg's question, and now Senator Rose's. Thank you for being here. This is most informative. So I'm on a border county. Are there regulatory advantages or disadvantages as between states? The forum shopping, I guess. I'm in close to Missouri, or in place some of our provisions here in Kansas that ease or make more difficult joining or being a part of a credit union. I'm concerned because I have constituents that may forum shop if they're able to and go across the state to Missouri. And I didn't know if there's something that you can point to or know of for our existing structure in Kansas that makes it more advantageous or less so.
So our neighbors in Missouri charge income tax to their credit unions. It's causing them some heartburn right now. For those of you in the Kansas City area who are very familiar with Community America, they've just changed to a federal charter. Multiple years ago, they'd moved their headquarters into Kansas to try to avoid some of those taxes, and then Missouri changed that loophole so that they were subjected to all of the taxes. So they've moved to a federal where they don't have to. There's another credit union in the area that's looking the same way. So if we look at our neighbors, I don't think that we are less competitive than they are. When we looked at our statutes a couple years ago, we tried really hard to make sure of that. It's just something I have to keep on my radar. And, as things change, we look at how competitive are we? And of course, we have the ability to grant parity. If we're in a place where a different state has changed their laws to be more favorable, I have the ability to allow them to work with that law until we can look at getting ours adjusted. And we have done that in a couple of instances.
Thank you, Ms. Murray, Madam Chair. So looking at that landscape, if there is something along that line that makes us more competitive, certainly I think you'll probably.
We try very hard, yeah.
Is your microphone on? Doesn't sound
Maybe
very loud.
It might.
There
I'm
you
sorry. Thank you. And I remember the discussion as between the credit unions and the banks some time ago where we were bringing that parity. So anyway, I appreciate that insight. And as you look at the national landscape, not just with Missouri, where we might continue to be advantageous for credit unions here. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you. All right, committee, we have, thank you, Julie, so much for being here. We always appreciate your presentation. We always learn something new. So we're here to help. If you need something, let us know. All right. Our next presenters, we have Julie, we just had Julie. Emily Beam from Kansas Credit Union Association. And is Darren with you today? Is he going to do a separate presentation from you?
It's all kind of the same thing, so
Sure, yep, Darren Worth, Heartland Credit Union's here as well. Okay, go ahead, Emily, welcome.
Thank you, Chair Dietrich, Vice Chair Fag, Ranking Member Miller, and the rest of the committee for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Emily Beam, and I represent the Kansas Credit Union Association, along with Cale Beam and the Federico Durst Consulting Group team. I am joined here by Darren Worth from Heartland Credit Union out of Hutchinson. He is a member of our Government Affairs Committee. The Kansas Credit Union Association represents 58 credit unions headquartered in Kansas and the roughly 1.13 Kansans who are credit union members. KSCUA is part of a 5-state league that also includes Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, making it the largest credit union league in the country. While advocacy is certainly a significant focus, we also provide a variety of other services, including compliance and regulatory assistance, education and professional development, and peer group engagement. The first U.S. credit union was founded in 1908 in New Hampshire to serve workers whose schedules did not align with traditional banking hours. This cooperative model quickly spread to underserved populations, including farmers, teachers, manufacturing employees, and other occupational groups. The first Kansas credit union was established in 1929 to serve postal workers, and that same year, the Kansas Legislature enacted the State Credit Union Act, creating a framework for state-chartered credit unions. Credit unions are fundamentally different than for-profit financial institutions. They are not-for-profit, member-owned cooperatives, similar to agricultural and electric cooperatives. They're governed by a volunteer board of directors elected by and from the membership, with each member having an equal vote. They're restricted to serving members who share a common bond, such as an occupation, employer, association, or geographic area. They're prohibited from raising capital from outside sources. Credit unions have capital standards similar to other financial institutions. However, they must maintain or grow their capital solely through retained earnings, not investors. They're subject to statutory limits on business lending, capped at 12.25% of their assets, and legally required to promote thrift and provide productive credit to members as a condition of their charter. Although credit unions hold a relatively small share of total deposits at just 12% statewide, they have a significant economic impact. Nearly 40% of Kansans are credit union members, and credit unions employ more than 3,300 people across the state. As not-for-profit, member-owned cooperatives, credit unions return their earnings directly to their members, not shareholders. In 2024 alone, Kansas credit union members realized more than $164 million in benefits through lower rates on loans, better rates on savings, and fewer and lower fees. Credit unions also benefit non-members by fostering competition in the marketplace. Like the broader financial services industry, credit unions have experienced consolidation over the past 2 decades. In Kansas, the number of credit union charters has declined from 122 in 2005 to just 61 today. Nationally, the number of credit union charters has fallen from over 8,800 to just under 4,400 during that same period. This trend is heavily driven by complex regulations and workforce challenges, particularly for smaller institutions. While consolidation is a concern, credit unions have maintained a strong local presence. The number of credit union branches operating in Kansas today remains consistent with 2015 levels, even as total financial institution branches nationwide have declined by about 6%, underscoring the credit union's continued commitment to the communities they serve. One of the most significant and rapidly growing challenges facing credit unions and their members is fraud. As technology and AI advance, scams are becoming increasingly sophisticated. In response, the Kansas Credit Union Association recently launched Fight the Fraud, a public awareness campaign with the goal to educate Kansans about common scams and how to protect themselves. It includes digital advertising, television coverage, and community outreach, and you can learn more at fightthefraudks.com. Additionally, during the interim, we have worked with industry partners, consumer protection groups, and law enforcement to develop legislative proposals to strengthen safeguards against fraud involving emerging technologies. We look forward to working with the committee on these efforts. I will hand it off to Darren Worth to touch on the uniqueness of credit unions and give some everyday examples of the credit union difference.
Welcome, Darren.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my name is Darren Worth, and I'm with Heartland Credit Union, and it is my privilege today to stand before you on behalf of the Kansas Credit Union Association and credit unions around the state. Many people, and probably a lot of you, have heard the phrase, the credit union difference. As not-for-profit financial cooperatives, credit unions are focused on serving their members and their communities, not shareholders. One of the ways this difference shows up is simply by being there. In many cases, when a financial institution acquires another financial institution, consolidation can cause consolidation of branches and also then lack of local services. When a credit union consolidates, even during a merger, we work to preserve and strengthen our physical presence so members continue to have access to local services. A recent example involves Heartland Credit Union's merger with United Credit Union in Ness City, a town of about 1,000 people. When United's manager prepared to retire, their board struggled to find a replacement, and Ness City, my hometown, was in danger of losing its only credit union. Through the merger with Heartland, members were able to retain access to local financial services, received expanded products and technology, and jobs in that local community were saved. Since then, Heartland Credit Union has invested over $500,000 in facility improvements, including the addition of a 24-hour ATM. Credit unions also invest heavily in financial education, even when there is no immediate return. In 2019, Heartland Credit Union opened a student-run branch in Hutchinson High School, and in 2025, Invista Credit Union opened a similar branch in Topeka High School. These programs teach students practical financial skills and valuable workforce experience while serving their peers. And credit unions don't stop there, providing counseling and budgeting help for people in all stages of life. These are not money-making propositions, but rather investments in our members, because credit unions understand we are only as successful as the members that we serve. Serving members, meaning serving people in all walks of life. In Kansas, transportation is a necessity, not a luxury. A reliable vehicle allows people to get to work, get their kids to school, and provide for their families. By financing through a credit union, Kansans save thousands of dollars over the life of their auto loan, thanks to lower interest rates. For those who need it most, the deep subprime and the subprime borrowers, those savings are even more dramatic, averaging over $6,200 versus a for-profit lender. This demonstrates the credit union's commitment to serving the underserved in a fair and equitable manner. It ensures that financial inclusion is not just a dream, it's a reality. But it's not always just the underserved that need assistance. Credit unions are also there when unexpected challenges arise. During the recent government shutdown, many Kansans were faced with furloughs and the sudden loss of income. Credit unions responded with 0% loans, no-fee loan deferrals, and other options to help members bridge the gap. Frontier Community Credit Union in Leavenworth implemented a guaranteed pay program which ensured that military and civil service members would continue to receive paychecks during the furloughs and then settling up once normal pay resumed. Because of these programs, many Kansans were able to avoid having to turn to payday lenders and other high-cost alternatives. In 2025 alone, Kansas credit unions provided over 38,000 small dollar loans to help manage short-term expenses. We delivered financial counseling and literacy training to over 64,000 Kansans and approved 51,000 skip-a-pays or loan deferments. We also originated 509,000 auto loans statewide and provided over 13,500 mortgages to help Kansans achieve homeownership. I hope I've been able to articulate the credit union difference to you this morning. Together, these efforts underscore the vital role that credit unions play in strengthening financial security and stability for families in Kansas. Thank you again for the opportunity to appear before you today on behalf of the Kansas Credit Union Association. We're happy to stand for questions at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate that. Questions? Senator Gossage?
Thank you for being here. I've stated this before. I, too, as Senator Diedrich said, have been a member of the credit union since I first became a teacher, blah, blah, years ago. And had got my mortgage through the credit union. However, also encouraged, I have 4 children, encouraged them to get their car loans through the credit union. So a question, you have 1.13 million who are credit union members. So take one of my children, for example. He's since paid off the car. And so it says, you know, you get the statement every month, you have $1, you know, in your account. Are they still considered a member?
That is going to depend on the bylaws of the credit union. For instance, at Heartland Credit Union, our share deposit in the credit union is $25. And that at that point, when that is fully funded, that is when you are officially a member of the credit union. The minute that drops below, I would have to defer to Emily on that one, whether they are, I think they are still are at that point on our rolls.
Just curious, like what constituted a member. Thanks for answering.
Senator Albright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Emily and Darren, I just wanted to make a brief comment, not a question, but thank you for engaging students at Hutchinson and Topeka High. That not only grows the business and the workforce, but it gives kids in the community a great opportunity. So I just really encourage you to continue to grow that. That's really a great program. Thank you.
I was actually going to ask a question about that. I agree with you 100%, Senator Albright. Who supervises those students because they're doing transactions, money transactions within the buildings?
So I will speak to how we do it at Heartland. We have a full-time branch manager within the facility. We hire interns to come in off, and generally they're juniors and seniors at Hutchinson High School. They receive credit as part of working at the credit union. And so that full-time branch manager is there to help supervise that staff. It's open from generally like 7:30 in the morning until about 2:30 in the afternoon with different groups of students rotating in to manage, to run and help run the credit union. They go through full training, just like the rest of our staff does, and it has been actually a boom for us in terms of employees. We've actually been able to, we generally bring on a couple of them every summer as paid employees that work in our facilities, and we have hired several following high school graduation that are on our staff currently, anywhere from a frontline to a loan officer. So it's not only been great for the students to learn experience, but it's been awesome for us.
Senator Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your presentation today, and Emily and Julie as well. And I want to kind of follow up with the student education that you're providing in some of the high schools. Thank you for that. I know in the high school that my kids attended, there was and still attend, there was a coffee shop. And we also have a school store, but I think it would be interesting for financial literacy that we're always kind of looking at here in the building to perhaps open a credit union branch there too. I don't know if there's any effort to expand the Hutchinson and Topeka effort, or how would we get involved with that?
We have talked about that in some of our other markets. We started in Hutchinson. We have branches in Hayes as well as in the Wichita market, and have looked at that. One of the things that we do in areas that we can't get to with a branch, we have a program called Buy to Reality, and it's a virtual financial literacy fair where essentially students are assigned a persona. It includes different jobs, things of that nature, and it forces them to budget their money, go around and visit different stations throughout this. It usually takes about a 1-hour training. And so for those facilities that we, those school districts that we don't have branches in, we still try to outreach to them through that program. We're one of the few credit unions in the state that has that program. And it's been enjoyable to do, and it's been a great, the students learn a lot when we pull those off.
I think I might bring that up at the next PTO board meeting with our principal. I have one other thank you and 2 questions, if I may.
Senator Rose has a quick question
Okay,
as well.
can
So
I?
I think you do.
I'll just be real quick. Thank you for the service that you've provided to the military community and the civilians who serve there as well. And my one question is that credit unions were founded partly because the workers' schedules didn't align with traditional banking hours. 40% of Kansans are part of credit unions, and I know that banks sometimes are rigid in their hours of operation. Does the credit union kind of have a shifting window if they're going to be open 7 or 8 hours a day? Some days it's 7 to 3 p.m., some days it's 9 to 5, some days it's 11 to 7, kind of to hit those different workers' schedules is my first question. And the second question was, you mentioned that our smaller credit union institutions struggle with regulatory complexity. And I'm always kind of looking at regulations and how we can make that simpler for businesses. So those are my 2 questions. Thank you.
As far as hours, we typically assess that on a yearly basis and see where our transaction counts are happening and try to align branch hours to best serve the membership. I mean, obviously, that's who we're here for. We did make a recent adjustment in this last year. And yeah, it is important that we try to be there later evening if we can. If those transaction accounts do warrant that, we will make those adjustments. I'll let Emily address the regulatory.
Thank you for asking that question. That is something that is talked about a lot. And your question is about those smaller institutions, if they're able to handle those regulations. What you're seeing is the mergers, and that is where they're having to be combined by the bigger institutions that have a department that handle those regulations, and that's one of the reasons for those mergers.
Makes sense, thank you. And I didn't mean to imply that our banks have hours that are not serving their customers either, but it's just kind of a financial industry kind of wide question. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nationally, the average age for the first-time homeowner has risen to 40 years old. What are Kansas credit unions doing to help more Kansans attain the American dream of homeownership, and our credit unions take advantage of the state programs that we have to help first-time homeowners.
So one of the things that we've done continuously is provide education to folks that are looking into homeownership. We hold first-time homebuyers workshops, and actually we've kind of changed that to just say homebuyers workshops. Because so often the industry, regulations, things of that nature change very quickly. And if you have been in your home and for 15 years and you're getting ready to buy again, you need to have a better understanding of what the market is. And so we have those on a regular basis. And then we also take advantage of different first-time homebuyers grants and homebuyers grants in general to help our members with affordability. The Federal Home Loan Bank of Topeka is one such resource that we use every single year, and we have provided hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant opportunities for our members to help with closing costs, down payments, repairs, things of that nature.
Question, Senator Hill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Emily and Darren, for your presentations. Learned a lot already on it. But a question, you talked about basically a stagnant number of credit unions in the state. And I realize there's specific requirements to belong to a credit union. But my question is, what is it, have you done research on what your saturation level is? I mean, are there opportunities for different credit unions that cater to a different clientele, either types of members or areas of membership that are not being exploited at this point in time?
It kind of depends on the market that it's in Wichita, Kansas City. There's lots of financial institution opportunities. But as you see, especially if you go farther out west, some communities may only have one type of financial institution to choose from. So really heavily depends on the market that it's in.
Thank you very much. You might see my bias for rural Kansas in that question. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, presenters. Julie from the Kansas Department of Credit Unions, our administrator, Emily, and Darren, thank you so much for doing your presentations today. It's always a great opportunity for us to refresh our memories on how important credit unions are to our state. So thank you for that. Committee, tomorrow we will be meeting again, and our presentation will be from the Office of the State Bank Commissioner, which is always fascinating as well, and they will have bills for us this year, probably more than previous years. The bills that Emily talked about that are concerning fraud with our credit unions, fight the fraud, are starting in the House first, is that correct? And they'll come to us after turnaround. So we've been very involved in that here in this area. So thank you so much. Committee, any questions before we adjourn for today? Okay, thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day.